What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So today, I didn't really have too much to upload because we just had the CP9 raid boss, and there isn't really much going on Treasure Cruise pretty much until like this actual Sugo Fest drops. So in this video today, I'm going to be going ahead and just doing more discussions about Mihawk and Perona, discussing them a little bit more, discussing their pros and cons, and some characters that you might have in your character box or that you might be looking forward to getting very soon that work really well with this character. Just basically a how-to video on how this character works and the best way that you can kind of use them, right? So Mihawk and Perona, I mean, definitely comparing the two recent Sugo Fest exclusives that are about to drop, they are definitely the better of the two, right? Because you got Mihawk and Perona releasing alongside V3 Rayleigh. V3 Rayleigh, I don't know if I'm going to make a video about him, but yeah, he is unfortunately not all that. I mean, he has some uses, but look, if you're just comparing the two, this character is so much better in almost every single way. So Mihawk and Perona, let's get into it. This is probably going to be a long video, so I want to get through it hopefully as quick as I can. Okay, this unit. Mihawk is the first character up of the two, Cerebral Slasher. Perona is a Cerebral Driven, and then when combined, they are both Cerebral Driven. Strength for Mihawk and Psi for Perona. Stats across the board are really good. Obviously, they do have Limit Break Expansion. I'm pretty sure their Limit Break Expansion... Yeah, their Limit Break Expansion is really bad because they don't get any cooldown reduction, so... Look, if you get this character, I don't know if it's even worth spending the materials to Limit Break expand them. Potentially, if you use them a lot as a sub and you really want to get the most out of them, then maybe, but no, honestly, I can't really suggest Limit Break expanding this character. Either way, Captain Effect, right? So Mihawk's Captain Effect boosts the attack of Strength and Psi by 3.5 if they've got a type slot. So Strength, I don't know why Quick is the second one, but Strength, Dex, Quick, Int, and Psi orbs. So you need to have one of those colored orbs, no matter if it's matching or not matching. As long as it's a colored orb, you get 3.5 times attack, and then 3 times otherwise if it's not a colored orb. And then also boost the health by 1.3. Strength orbs are beneficial for Psi characters, and then lowers the chances of recovery and tandem slots appearing. That's pretty good because you want to be getting as many type slots as possible to maintain your 3.5 captain. We'll discuss pros and cons in a little bit. But then when you switch over to Perona, boost attack of Strength and Psi by 3.25, 1.3 health, Psi orbs are beneficial for strength characters, and then once again lowers the chances of recovery and tandem slots appearing. And then when you fully combine into their dual form, they are a 4.5 captain as long as you have a colored orb on your team, and then 4 times otherwise, which is still really good. And then 1.3 health makes all colored orbs beneficial for Strength and Psi characters. So once again, you want to be getting those type slots so you can have that 4.5 captain, and it's very easy to get matching slots with this character naturally. And then once again, makes recovery and tandem slots appear less often. As for their crewmate abilities, it's nothing crazy except for this bottom one. This bottom one's kind of crazy. Like the stat boosting ones, they're very average, but this one's really good. Strength and Psi orbs are beneficial for Strength and Psi characters. That is honestly like really, really good. Now, their switch ability arguably is one of the best switch abilities in the game. You get 1500 HP recovered, just guaranteed, which is amazing. And then inflicts enemies with the negative debuff for 1 turn. If there's 2 or more enemies on the stage, when you activate the swap, it will actually ignore the debuff protection and then give them the negative debuff. It's actually not listed here because I remember reading this in-game, but they also give themselves a matching orb. I'm almost 100% certain on that one. So that's really good. If you guys don't know what this negative debuff is, it essentially will just reduce their attack and defense by 20%. It's really good because this in turn is basically like reducing damage taken by 20%. That's essentially what it is. And then if they've got some sort of relatively high base defense, you can just reduce it by a very small margin. The defense reduction isn't that big, but reducing the enemy's attack is so good because it means you tank less damage. So good. Or, you know, you don't really tank less damage, you tank more damage, but you're reducing the damage that you take. Hopefully you understand that. Special ability on a 13-turn cooldown is a 20% health cut to all enemies. Block orbs are changed to matching, and then give you a 2 times conditional boost against the negative debuff status enemies for 1 turn, and then fuse for 3 turns into the dual unit. across the board, looking pretty good. As for their potential abilities, they have 5 turns of recovery bind, they have 10 turns of slot bind, and they have a 100% chance to land 10% extra damage. That's just so good. Characters that have guaranteed crits are amazing. And the fact is this character inherently is just going to be dealing more damage than nearly every other character on the team because, you know, they've got really good base stats, and you got to remember, any damage that they deal is just multiplied by 1.1 because they've got an extra 10% every time they hit it perfect. It's amazing. So, about pros and cons for this character. First of all, they are a Cerebral class, no matter which character they turn into. That is actually a humongous buff, because there are so many good characters in the game that utilize the Cerebral class. I mean, just looking at all the other dual units that are in the game right now that are Cerebral based. Vivi Rebecca, Sabu Koala, Shanks Crew, Cat Dog. There's like so many good ones that you could, you know, partner with and use on this team to enhance the usability of Mihawk and Perona, which is amazing. They boost 2 separate colors, being Strength and Psi, which is really good because there's plenty of very powerful Strength and Psi characters. Being 4.5 as well is really nice. Most dual legends these days are around 4.5 multiplier in some capacity. Pretty easy to get matching slots naturally. You know, obviously if the enemy changes your orbs around, you'll have to do some shenanigans to change them back, but naturally speaking, yeah, matching orbs are not really a big problem. They have arguably one of the best switch abilities in the game, which we talked about. The recovering 1500 is insane, especially because, as we talked about just before with Vivi and Rebecca, their switch ability, which gives you 2000 HP at the end of the turn, you can stack this on top of that. So technically speaking, if you have this and Vivi Rebecca on the same team, you heal 3500 and then 4500 with auto heal sockets. It's insane. Very, very good. And then obviously the negative debuff, which can help you tank damage from the enemy, and this can be stacked on top of other switch abilities that give you other damage reducing effects, such as Don Krieg and Gin, and Ivankov and Bon Clay. Those 2 dual units, every time you switch, you get 20% damage reduction. You can stack that on top of this, so you get 20% reducing the enemy's attack, and then 20% damage reduction, you know, damage reduction effect on your team. It's amazing. And then, of course, the 100% chance to crit with their potential ability is also very good, as we talked about. And the fact that they have the 2 times conditional boost. So there's a lot about this character that is quite beneficial. Very, very good character overall. So yeah, Mihawk and Perona are just a phenomenal unit. So really, really liking that. So I want to talk about right now, you know, some free-to-play options that you might have in your account that will benefit the usability of Mihawk and Perona. So first of all, I'm going to be talking about like different categories, and then we'll move on to some other characters later on. 1924, I've got all the IDs down of characters I've researched up. Raid Rayleigh is a strength character, and he has a special ability that randomizes non-matching slots. So if the enemy gives you, hypothetically, like bomb tandem orbs and stuff like that, you can use his special to randomize those orbs, gives you the higher chance of getting those type slots, and then also gives you an attack boost, plus having that crewmate ability to reduce his special every time another special is launched, so you can use him multiple times per run. Very, very good character to have. Another attack booster, 1941. This is another good character that will give you orbs as well as an attack boost. So if we look at his special real quick, changes all orbs including block into strength, which of course when they're the captain in their dual form, they're going to treat as beneficial. And then boost the attack of strength, quick, and psi. Strength and psi specifically are the good ones by 1.75 for 1 turn. Really, really good. So that's a really good type booster you could have. 2407 is going to be, well, that is actually another one that you could use. Yeah, that wasn't actually the character I was going to go for, but yeah, this character is still really good. World Clash Ace, because they have the ability, obviously they bind themselves for 50 turns, which isn't that good, but all orbs are changed to matching, and you get a 1.75 attack boost and a 1.75 orb boost for 2 turns, and you get a chain boost. So even though they bind themselves, it's not the worst thing in the world, because you're getting a really big boost out of that. Like, his special alone can help you clear like lots of mini boss stages, especially with how powerful Mihawk and Perona are. And then the last character in terms of free-to-play attack boosters I want to make note on is this guy right here, Edward Weevil. He's really good because you can get the ability to remove attack down by 20 turns, and the big thing is 2 times attack boost if the enemy has a debuff protection or delay protection, which is quite common. So this guy is very, very good, and he's a Psi character. Obviously, all the characters we're talking about in this video are going to be Psi and strength related. So those are all attack boosters that are very good. Moving on to orb boosters, I don't have many of them that are free to play that are really, really good for Mihawk and Perona, but this guy's not too bad. the Bellamy character. He simply is making Sign Int beneficial for 1 turn. I mean, the Psi ones doesn't really, like, this doesn't matter, especially if you're using them at, you know, when you're using the dual form of Mihawk and Perona, because all type slots are beneficial. But you get another health cut, which is good, and a 1.75 orb boost, which is cool. And the other one I want to talk about is the character that released recently on Global, which is the Kizuna Gecko Moria. This guy is really good because he changes all type slots into strength orbs. That doesn't matter that much, but then he locks orbs for 1 turn. So whatever orbs you have, you can treat them as matching in the following turn as well for Mihawk and Perona. But then you get an orb boost for strength, dex, and psi characters. Strength and psi specifically are the big ones we're talking about here. 1.75 orb boost, and then after 2 turns, you get another 1.75 orb boost. So you can literally use it on stage 4 of a Coliseum, lock your orbs, get the orb boost, and then get it again in the following room. It's a fantastic special. So make sure to get that character maxed. Moving on to color affinity boosters, we're going to talk about Akainu. Now, Akainu specifically is only good for strength teams because he gives all of your strength characters strength orbs, which is really useful, and then boosts the color affinity of strength by 1.75 on a 12-turn cooldown is super exceptional in terms of just color affinity. And then 2684 is going to be Sabo, Stampede Sabo. This guy's really good as well. He's got a special that reduces burn and attack down by 5 turns, and then color affinity to, once again, strength and psi, and dex as well, but specifically strength and psi by 1.75 for 2 turns, and then you get beneficial slots for 2 turns, which the beneficial slots doesn't matter if you're using the, you know, the dual captain, doesn't matter, but either way, utility and color affinity, this character is really, really good. So now we've got a big category coming up with utility. So this one right here, if I could type the right number, this Coliseum Eneru. Coliseum Eneru is super good. If you guys haven't maxed NL, I don't know what you're doing. You need to go ahead and do that. Attack down, chain multiply limit, paralysis by 5 turns, and then if your captain is driven, which they are in the Perona form and in the dual form, you get a 0.7 chain boost. This character is very good for Mihawk and Perona. Next one is going to be 2193, which is going to be Bartholomew Kuma, the Coliseum Bartholomew Kuma. He's got a special that reduces Threshold and Rainbow Shield by 3 turns. He does give you Adjacent Orbs Recovery, which obviously is not a really good thing, but the utility is the big thing here. Adjacent Orbs into Recovery obviously does suck, but it's not the end of the world. It doesn't really matter all that much. The next one, 2215, is going to be Summer Reiju. This character doesn't see that much play, but it's a pretty decent free-to-play unit that has the ability to delay, reduces paralysis, bind, despair, special bind, all by 2 turns, makes badly matching and block orbs not reduce damage. That doesn't mean that much. You're just mainly using her for utility, especially because she reduces special bind on herself as well. So, you know, if it's only a really small special bind, you can remove it with her, but just removing, you know, all those other debuffs are really, really good with her. 2336 is Trafalgar Law from the treasure map. Another really good unit that you could use to change adjacent orbs and his own orb into matching, which is great. You get a 0.7 chain boost, and then if your characters are fighter / a cerebral free spirit, they get special cooldown as well, which of course Mihawk and Perona are cerebral, and he does have the crewmate effect to resist 2 turns of special rewind, so you can use him in that situation if all of your characters get special rewinded. He's a really good unit to use in that particular circumstance there. 2362 is going to be Christmas Nami, another really good utility unit. So she just removes a bunch of stuff: paralysis, attack down, chain multiply limit, chain coefficient reduction, burn and blindness by 3 turns, and then block and badly matching slots are changed into matching on an 11-turn cooldown. Hard to pass up. Fantastic free-to-play unit to have for sure. 2812 is going to be the Kizuna Okiku that came out a few months back on Global. Another really powerful strength unit that reduces bind and paralysis by 2 turns, reduces special cooldown of all characters by 1 turn, and then you get 70% damage reduction. She also has the crewmate ability to resist special rewind, and of course, she does have double special activation, so you can remove up to 4 turns of bind and paralysis and 2 turns of cooldown reduction. Yeah, make sure to have her done. I don't know when this character is going to return if you guys haven't got her maxed. Hopefully it happens soon. Hopefully. Next is going to be 2869 is going to be Coliseum Komurasaki, recently coming out on Global. Actually, she's out right now. I think she's out right now. So if you haven't got her done, make sure you get it done. So she just removes Rainbow Shield, Threshold by 2 turns, Bind and Attack down by 2 turns, Health back, changes adjacent orbs, including block, into matching, and once again has double special activation. So yeah, very, very good, especially because she has the also ability to resist special rewind as well. So yeah, all these characters here work so well on not only just, you know, Mihawk and Perona teams, but just in general. They're really good characters. And then the recent character that's literally out right now as well is the Raid CP9. Now, this is the 5-star version, not the 5-star plus. This unit is a strength unit. and then reduces Rainbow Shield and Resilience by 5 turns, and then also changes Empty, Block, and Bomb on Strength and Psi characters into matching, and then becomes the captain for 2 turns, where you get that captain effect, which of course isn't as good as the Mihawk and Perona captain effect, but it's still not terrible considering you're removing a bunch of annoying effects on the enemy, which is good. So those are all free-to-play options that you could actually go ahead and use to, you know, build a Mihawk and Perona team, which is really dope. So now we're over on the database calculator right now, where we can just have a look at it. This is a raw free-to-play team that has a bunch of the characters that we mentioned just before. So we've got the double captains of Mihawk and Perona. We've got Stampede Sabo, which has amazing utility plus color affinity. Ace gives us a full board of orbs as well as an attack boost. We've got Colosseum Komurosaki for, again, really good utility. And then we've got the Gecko Moria for multiple turns of an orb boost. And then, of course, with Mihawk and Perona, we can activate their switch ability to guarantee us the negative effect, plus their special to give us the conditional boost. So once we launch all these specials, that's a pretty good amount of damage just in terms of raw free to play, no cotton candies counted. This is at max limit break across the board though, and we can see that, you know, against the types that they are super effective against, and this is with half the team being Psi, half the team being Strength, 34 million for Dex, 32 million against Int, and then of course if you want to, you know, stack it all into one typing, this damage will only go up from here. And this does not even have like a chain boosting effect either, so you can replace, you know, a utility unit for a chain booster. You can do a lot of different things here, but this is just talking about in terms of just raw free to play with dealing damage plus having a pretty good amount of utility. This is honestly pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with the way that this team's, you know, just looking. Of course, this is not a team that you can clear all content with. I'm just giving you guys an example team of a balance of damage, utility, as well as being full free to play. It's a pretty solid team. And then, as we mentioned a little earlier, there's a bunch of really powerful Cerebral dual units that can actually be used with Mihawk and Perona. So in this circumstance here, we have the double Mihawk and Perona, we have Vivi Rebecca, we've got Shanks Crew, Sabo Koala, and Cat Dog. So let's launch all their specials. Get the conditional boost, get the color affinity, get the chain lock, get the attack boost, and then get the orb boost. Now, where is the orb boost? I think, yeah, well, this will count for the orb boost. So in this circumstance here, I'm not saying this is a team that you should run, but I'm just saying in this specific circumstance, you can balance it out and have 120 million against 2 separate colors is pretty insane. And I'm not saying this is a good team for content. This is just showing you guys that all these characters can actually work together and have synergy. Now, there's not much utility in this team at all, which is why I'm suggesting not to use it. But if we're just talking raw damage output, that's kind of crazy that all of these characters can work together and actually have somewhat, you know, some kind of synergy is actually pretty crazy. So there you go, Mihawk and Perona with a bunch of the other dual units in the game that are Cerebral based, because you got conditional boost, chain lock, orb boost, attack boost, color affinity. It just all fits together, and it's crazy that all of them are Cerebral. Absolutely absurd. So we've talked about some free-to-play options, you know, in terms of the team that I just showed, as well as like just a bunch of other different units that you could use. But what about rare recruit options? Now, I'm not going to talk about a bunch of legends because literally any strength and psi legend is going to work under Mihawk and Perona, as I just showed you guys. But in terms of generic rare recruit characters, which ones are actually not too bad? So I've got a little bit of a list here. It's not as extensive as the free-to-play one, but there's still some pretty good units in here. So in terms of attack boost, there's only one unit that I've really highlighted here, which is going to be Dice. Dice is actually a pretty solid unit. I've always been a big fan of this rare recruit, honestly. There's not too many circumstances where you can use him though. He's got a relatively low cooldown after his expansion, but cuts the HP of one enemy by 15%, reduces barriers by 1 turn, and then if your captain is a strength or quick character, which in the Mihawk version they are, own orb becomes strength, and then a rainbow 1.75 attack boost to your whole team. Very, very good unit to have, so that's nice. They can work well with Mihawk and Perona. Now, in terms of orb boosting effects, the first one that we're going to go through is Opera. Now, Opera can technically be put in the color affinity category as well, but he's a really good unit because you can use his special to give your, fighter, slasher, striker, shooter, and cerebral characters 1.75 orb boost and color affinity with double special, of course. And of course, because Mihawk and Perona are cerebral all the way through, you can use them in that situation. But, you know, as long as they're strength and psi, and then they have, you know, one of these classes, which is not difficult to do, you can get yourself a pretty good boost just with this rare recruit alone, so that's nice. Another orb booster, who have I got here? I've got Gin, which is 2864. Don, Krieg, and Gin. Now, of course, in this situation here, Krieg is a strength unit and Gin is a quick unit, so you don't want to be switching to Gin that often. But remember, this is a character that has that really powerful switch ability, which we can talk about real quick. They get a matching orb and then reduce damage take by 20%. And of course, if you have the negative debuff inflicted to the enemy, you're just mitigating so much damage output with just 2 switch effects, right? Plus, you're getting amazing healing with Mihawk and Perona too, so that's good. And then they've got a great special that gives you the ability to remove paralysis by 5 turns, blue shield by 5 turns on the enemy, and then you also get the 2x orb boost if the enemy has delay protection or all debuff protection. So very good rare recruit. Next is going to be 2881, which is Stampede Crocodile, which I don't think too many people would have this guy, but then again, if you did summon for Douglas Bullet when he came out, you know, a couple months back or however long ago it was, to get the guaranteed Douglas Bullet, having access to this guy's really good, right? Because he's got a powerful special, reduces all enemies Rainbow Shield and Resilience by 5 turns, locks orbs for 1 turn, and if you create 3 or more characters that are Strength, Quick, or Psi, of course the colors are there, you get a 2x orb boost to those colors as well. So really good rare recruit. Moving on to color affinity, 2027, we've got Hina. Hina is only really going to be used if you're predominantly focusing on a Psi team, because your captain has to be Quick or Psi, and if they are, you get a 2x color affinity to Psi characters, so that's kind of cool. Not a character you're going to use too often though. 2080 is the Whole Cake Island Brook, and he has another really good special that changes block orbs into matching, and then you also get a color affinity as well, but the enemy has to have the full debuff protection or the delay protection. So, you know, take it as you will, but it's not a terrible rare recruit at all. And then the last color affinity centered rare recruit is 2369, which is Montador. Came out with V2 Katakuri, but he has a powerful special that is centered with strength and Psi characters once again, plus reduces enemies Rainbow Shield and Blue Shield by 4 turns, reduces special bind as well by 4 turns, and increased damage taken, and burn by 4 turns, and then you get a 1.75 color affinity for 2 turns. If your captain is strength or Psi, it makes quick orbs beneficial as well, so even if you're not in the dual form, even in just the Perona or the Mihawk form, you're also making quick orbs beneficial. This character is really good for Mihawk and Perona. And then that's it for the affinity, but then we've just got a bunch of utility units. Now, this video is already relatively long, so I kind of want to blast through these here. Kuma. I love this rare recruit, one of my favorite rare recruits in the game. He is very good because he reduces Bind and Despair by 7 turns, you get some health back, and he has a chance to defeat the enemy. And the thing is, he has double special activation, which is pretty good, so that's always nice to have. So you can actually remove 14 turns, or technically 17 with sockets. 17 turns of Bind and Despair removal with 1 unit is pretty bizarre. Next one is 1986, which is Marco, what's actually his evolved version, 87. This Marco right here has the ability to reduce bind and chain coefficient reduction and attack down by 5 turns. You get damage reduction for 1 turn. If your crew has 3 or more strength characters, adds 0.75 to the chain for 1 turn. Even if your whole team is Psi and you've got this character on your team, as long as both of your captains switch to Mihawk and you have Marco on your team, you can fulfill the condition for this boost, which is great. Next one is going to be Toadskii, 2068. Limited rare recruit Toadskii. This character is very, very good. So reduces attack down and increased damage taken by 5 turns. Block orbs, strength orbs, and quick orbs are changed to matching, and then you get a 2.75 chain lock for 3 turns. So again, that's a character you can use on like a stage 4 of a Coliseum, carry a boost into the final boss stage. Next one is 2238, is Smoothie. I don't use this character too much, but she's pretty good. On paper, she actually is a pretty good unit. So her special is recover 5,000 health, remove poison, all forms of poison, and then reduce paralysis, bind, despair, burn by 2 turns, adjacent orbs into matching, and you can change your orbs 3 times. And she does have double special activation, so you can remove up to 4 turns of paralysis, bind, despair, and burn. So very good. Next one is going to be, no, we already did Smoothie, 2479, Mr. 1. Mr. 1 is pretty cool. He's a Psi unit, and he will do a health cut, and he will also remove threshold damage reduction, percent damage reduction, and increased defense. So all of those really annoying defensive effects. So Rainbow Shield, Blue Shield, Threshold, all by 3 turns with this character alone, which is great. Next one after that is 2540, which again is one of the best rare recruits for endgame content, basically. This Ivankov Bonclay is just crazy, crazy good. So, as well as being strength and Psi throughout whichever character you switch into, which is obviously a pretty big bonus, but they have the amazing switch ability to reduce paralysis by 1 turn and reduce damage taken by 20%. So you can get the switch to get damage mitigation and then damage mitigation with the negative debuff. And then they have an amazing utility special for removing poison, recovery down, blindness, bind and despair by 5 turns. You get healing as well for 5 turns. This character's great. So yeah, be very happy if you got this character. Make sure to max out all their cotton candy, limit break them. Just limit break, expand them if you're able to. They're just so good. They are amazing. 2605 is going to be Kobe. Kobe is another utility-based unit, removing despair and paralysis by 5 turns. You get some recovery back as well for 3 turns. And if you're above 50%, you take no damage from quick and dex enemies. So that's kind of cool, but not overly amazing. But it's cool. I wanted to mention it because it was there. One of the best recruits in the game, Usohachi. Again, just one of those units that removes all of those defensive effects. Threshold, Rainbow Shield, Blue Shield by 5 turns, special cooldown reduction as well, delays enemies, has the crewmate ability to resist special rewind as well, so you can use him to reduce your character specials, reduce a silence on your whole team for 1 turn. This unit is godly, right? So godly. And then the last rare recruit I'm going to talk about is going to be Stampede Buggy. Stampede Buggy is a really good option for Mihawk and Perona teams because reduce paralysis, special bind, and attack down all by 5 turns. That is phenomenal utility. And then if your captain is driven, which they are in the Perona form and in their dual form, all orbs, including block, are changed to matching, no matter what. So that's a huge bonus, right? And on an 11-turn cooldown, he has an expansion? What? Since when did he get an expansion? I had no idea. Okay, well, there you go. He has a limit break expansion. I don't know if that's on global yet, but either way, that is pretty cool, right? So the last couple things I really want to do here is just briefly discuss hybrid options and support abilities. So we'll get into hybrid options right now. So in terms of building them in a hybrid sense, there are a handful of characters that I've got here on the side. So the first one is going to be Snake Man, which is pretty self-explanatory. He's a rainbow captain and his strength. He's an orb booster. He's a chain booster. He's very good. So that's a pretty solid option there. The next one is going to be Sabo and Koala. Another really good option that we just talked about earlier. You know, pretty much all those dual units that we just talked about are really good options as hybrids. Sabo Koala, Shank's crew, Viva Rebecca if you can build a good team enough for it. Cat Dog is a pretty good option too. All of them are really good. So all of those ones that I just mentioned can work. We've also got another Luffy character, which, you know, there's plenty of Luffys in the game. Where is he? That specific Luffy I'm looking for, waiting for all the icons to load, Stampede Luffy. Stampede Luffy boosts strength, dex, and size, so he works very well with Mihawk and Perona, boosting the same colors. Plus, he has the added effect of his captain ability, reducing damage taken. Plus, he also has the ability to reduce despair and paralysis by 10 turns, so you get inbuilt utility just with his captain effect. So if you do need that additional bit of utility, you can hybrid up this character if you want. But in most cases, you know, double Mihawk Perona works. Or in most cases, Mihawk and Perona are really good as a sub too, because you can still get their negative effect to activate as a sub. You just have to activate their switch ability, remember? So no matter where you put them, as a captain or as a sub, they're going to provide something to your team, which is good. And then the other one here that I'm going to talk about briefly is going to be Douglas Bullet. I really wouldn't suggest Douglas Bullet all that much, but he is technically an option because he boosts strength, quick, and int. Of course, Mihawk and Perona are Psi, half the character is Psi, so it's not overly amazing, but you can still run this situation here, or you can literally just do this. You can have Mihawk and Perona as a sub, and then double Douglas Bullet captain. That can still work very, very well in your favor as well. So those are some pretty decent hybrid options that you could potentially go for. Now, before we end this video, I'm going to talk about some support abilities. I do have a couple of support abilities talked about on the side. So the first one we're going to talk about is 414, which is going to be, if I could type it correctly, Gecko Moria. So this Gecko Moria is a very old rare recruit, but he has a really good support. So he attaches to Hogback, Perona, and Absalom. Of course, half the unit is Perona, so it works. And then it states, once per adventure, when the enemy, when you use a special, you will get a conditional boost against defense down enemies. So that's kind of cool. It's not like an amazing special overall, because you want to mainly be focusing on using your negative debuff to get the conditional boost. But this is another character you can put on your team, although, as I said, you really shouldn't be focusing on that, unless if there's some way you can reduce the enemy's defense through all immunity, but No, but it is an option. It is a character that goes onto Perona, but yeah, you wouldn't be using that all that much. 1612, which is a character we talked about a little earlier, Bartholomew Kuma. This is probably one of the supports you're going to be using a lot because it attaches to Moria or Perona. Once per adventure, when you get inflicted with despair, it just reduces 5 turns of despair. How good is that? Like, just anytime you're inflicted with it, just, no, get rid of 5 turns of it. So good. That Kuma is amazing. One of the best rare recruits in the game, hands down. 1921, 6+ Zoro. Yes, 6+ Zoro has a very good support ability, so he attaches to either Mihawk or Perona, and then once per adventure, when the supported character uses their special, you get a 2.5 times chain lock for 2 turns. Now, 3 turns would have been godly, but 2.5 is still pretty good, right? Because you can use Mihawk and Perona's special on hypothetically stage 4 or stage 3, depending on when it happens. And because this chain lock is for 2 turns, you can carry it into the next room, and if the enemy's preemptive attack gives you a negative chain lock, this actually avoids it. So this is a really, really big brain play that you can do, but this can also be used just to give you more damage for free without having to bring a chain locker on your team, which is really good. So that's another really good option that you could potentially go for as well. And then the final one I want to talk about, I guess I want to bring out the damage calculator for this one, because this is actually pretty big brain, right? Pretty big brain. So if we bring up this real quick. Now, Big Mom is a really good unit. She's arguably one of the best treasure map units in the game. Probably top 3, in my opinion anyway. She has a really good special, right, where she gives you all of those G orbs, which is not good, because remember, Mihawk and Perona only give you the 4.5 attack boost if you have a colored orb. So G orbs don't count in that sense. However, there is a really powerful support ability that you can use in order to change those into matching for free. And the character I'm talking about is with the ID of 2891. Jigoro of the Wind. This character was available during the Kizuna Clash that just came out. If we have a look at his support effect real quick, he attaches to Moria, Perona, Absalom, and Hogback. Once per adventure, when the supported character uses their special, changes empty, bomb, G, tandem orbs on strength, dex, and psi characters into strength. And remember, when they are in their dual form, all colored orbs are counted as beneficial. So we can use the support ability of that to get, you know, the dual captain, and then we have the Mihawk and Perona special to get the conditional boost, and then we have the Lin special. And this is just with 3 characters, and we're getting this amount of damage on the team. So that is like a big brain play that you could do. Like just with 2 characters and a support ability, you're getting crazy high damage numbers. And then literally the rest of your team can be filled with like support characters. And that can help you get through content. So that's one kind of situation where that particular support ability is going to see heavy play. That's a really, really good support. So anyways, that is going to wrap up this video today, guys, talking about Mihawk and Perona. I'm really excited to see these characters come out. I think they're a very underrated legend. I think on JP, a lot of people do underrate them a lot, but it's just because, you know, with the super type meta, a lot of people are mainly focusing on those characters. But don't disregard this character. This character is very, very strong. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today. And if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.